Hey, let me ask you something. Has any band ever played a single riff that instantly made you a fan? For me, Baest has. That riff right there made me stop what I was doing and immediately search for more info on this band. And what I found with Baest is that I enjoy watching them just as much as I enjoy listening to them. Because when Baest plays death metal, it looks like they're having more fun than anyone else on earth. Well, it looks like 3 years later, they heard these guys smile too much to play death metal a few too many times and decided to just embrace it because they've made one of the most fun death metal albums I've ever heard. But don't get it twisted. This thing isn't silly. It's an absolute crusher of brutality. It's just not dour when they do it. Imagine what would happen if a band took AC/DC and Iron Maiden riffs but played it in a bolt thrower death metal style. Want to hear more? Join Svend from Baest and myself on episode 230 of Heavy Metal Philosophy. Svend from Baest, welcome to Heavy Metal Philosophy.
Thank you.
So I'm excited to have you here because one of my earliest episodes, I've named some of the death metal bands that I'm most excited for from what I call the new generation. And that's bands like Hath, 200 Stab Wounds, and I, of course, named Baest in that list too. I love you guys' stuff. And I think it was 2021, maybe 2022, I named Ecclesia as my riff of the year. I absolutely love that riff.
Oh, that's awesome. That EP didn't get out to many, so I'm glad you heard it.
Well, let's talk about that EP because I'm interested. In the press release, it said that Colossal was going to be more of a heavy metal record. You kind of changed your sound a little bit. That EP, Justitia, from a few years ago, I heard a slight hint of that, but it still had very much that chuggy death metal sort of thing. So I'm wondering if Justitia sort of made you guys think about how you wanted to change your sound.
Yeah, first of all, the record is going to be Colossal, and the song is Colossus. But for the EP, the last song we did was Ecclesia. And Ecclesia has that guitar solo part where it's a pretty heavy metal riff going on underneath the solos. And I remember after doing that song, everyone was like, okay, that was really cool to play. And it's a fan favorite when we do it live, and we really enjoy it. So after that, the heavy metal riffs slowly started making their way into the rehearsal space. And after a while, we just had to face it, like we have to put it into the songs. We don't have a choice anymore because we're playing it all the time. And that's how the whole writing process for Colossal started.
So would you say it was kind of like a discovery? Like, you come up with this riff, cool. But then as you listen to it, you go, I like this.
Yeah, it was a spontaneous thing. Lasse brought the riff in and everyone was like, oh, wow, that's something completely different. But, everyone is into Dio, Whitesnake, and Judas Priest. So, of course, everyone wanted to play it. And then it's really, really fun. And we started playing the new classic riffs we started doing. We just played them for fun in the rehearsal space, and it got more and more. And I remember we watched Crisian play ZZ Top while warming up for a show we had with them, and it just hit like, guys, we got to put some more rock into the death metal because look at these guys, they're fucking awesome. And then we went for it.
I mean, who doesn't love ZZ Top?
Everyone loves ZZ Top. They should.
Absolutely. And speaking of bands that everybody loves, so I read the press release that there was going to be a change in sound, and then I'm listening to my preview stream, and the very first song on the record, Stormbringer, it starts with an AC/DC riff. And I go, wow,
Yes.
they weren't kidding at all. And at first I was like, okay, so they're really going rock and roll here. But then when the full band jumps in, I was like, yeah, well, there's the Baest I know and love too, though.
Yeah, that was the last song we finished. We recorded it in February this year. And, doing we had 2 days before going on tour again. And doing the whole song, it was good. And then the guys were like, Sven, you play that riff in a sort of AC/DC like way. And I'm like, yes. And that we should use that as the intro also, just not in the middle part. And we tried it, and everyone was laughing so hard when we heard it, and we agreed we have to put this in there because it sets the whole scene for that song, and it sets the whole scene for the record. Like you can't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna mess with you a little bit, but that's the quality of it.
It
And
did mess with me.
AC/DC is the greatest band of all. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of like intros to records, but that one is perfect because it, like you said, it sets the tone. It messes with you because, like I said, immediately I thought AC/DC, and then when the full band jumps in, it's like, oh, here we go. It's still brutal, but it's like a fun kind of brutal.
I think it is, and fun is really like a key word for what's going on in bass right now. There's no more rules, there's no more dogmas, there's no requirements other than all the guys thinking it's fun. And we've been the same guys since the beginning. There's been no changes, and now let's have some fun and let's rock out. We still do songs like Colossus and Mouth of the River, which hits really, really hard. And we're already writing the next record, and there's going to be some pretty traditional death metal stuff on there too. But there's also going to be all this 80s stuff, because we still think, when we listen to Subjected to a Beating by Dying Fetus, everyone is going crazy. But that also happens when we listen to Tom Sawyer by Rush. So we want to bring those things into the bass sound because that's what we enjoy.
So that answers one of the questions I wanted to ask later. I was thinking maybe this is like a special record. We want to do this traditional heavy metal record, but no, you're saying this is the path going forward.
It feels so right. And when we play it live, it feels even better. And, I think it's a very, very honest record. It doesn't take anything away from the stuff we've done before. And we're always going to play like Meat Hook Massacre. We're always going to play Crosshore and all that stuff. But we want to have a dynamic show, and we want to develop also as a band. And, there's no better moment when you look across the stage when you're playing and everyone is like grinning. Everyone is having such a good time, even though we've done it for 10 years, that we're still at the peak fun level. So that's, it's the right thing to do. We think.
That brings up a memory in my mind. So I've been noticing that traditional heavy metal is sort of making a comeback in lots of different subgenres of metal. You've got the blackened version, like bands like Night. You've got the more poppy version, bands like Ghost. And then in black metal, you've got bands like Uada that are doing a lot of traditional heavy metal into their sound. Before this record, the only death metal guys that I had seen incorporate the traditional heavy metal is a band called Horrendous. And
yes, exactly.
I was doing concert photography at one of their shows, and everybody was just loving it. And I got this great shot of the guys looking at each other and just the biggest smiles on their faces. Like, can you believe this? It just looked like they were having so much fun. And that's sort of the vibe I'm getting. And really, that's kind of the vibe I've gotten from you guys for a long time. Because I remember you guys did that video where you covered the Bolt Thrower song. And, classic death metal, but y'all just were smiling, and the video looked like y'all were having so much fun doing that.
Definitely. and that is the key word for Baest, and the key word for Colossal is fun. And it's also about, sometimes it's frightening changing a little bit of direction as a band. But the label were really supportive, and to a Messen where we recorded it, he was also like, the fears, guys, do what you think is fun, do what you like, and do what you feel is right now. And then we ended up with this one, and it's still kind of scary, and I'm really excited to see what people think about it. But as for now, I'm only getting good vibes, and when I listen to it, I'm still really happy about how it ended up. So yeah, I think it's a good record, and it's the right record for us to release now.
I love hearing these words: happy, fun, talking to a death metal band. But
yeah,
you did also mention fear, and that was one of the things I wanted to ask you about, because expectations, and you talked about the fear of expectation. So on this show, I often talk about stoicism and absurdism, and I think the third philosophical school that would fit nicely in this Venn diagram is Buddhism. And the Buddhists say that suffering comes when your expectations don't match reality. And
yeah,
so here you guys are boldly proclaiming, we're changing our sound, we're going in this direction. And you know that there's going to be fans of yours from the older records that are going to have certain expectations.
yes.
How are you feeling about that?
I know for myself that I can get disappointed when bands, they change lanes too much. And that's why I understand why people will maybe feel this about the record. But on the other hand, we've always been a band that has fun. We've been criticized for being too happy on stage, and, smiling too much, and we just can't help it. That's how we feel, and that whole vibe is a big part of Colossal. So if people get why we play and they've seen us play, I think they won't be surprised. I think they will be surprised because it's a fresh sound. It's a new take on death metal, I think. But it won't be. I think if Deicide did a record like that, people would be really,
Right.
really confused. But for us, I think it matches what we were trying to do. And yeah, but it's still, there's still a bit of anxiety connected to releasing anything really. But this one is especially, special. I'm really looking forward to hear what people think.
Well, having heard it, I would reassure people it's not a left turn. To me, it's Baest with more, because it's
Awesome.
still super heavy. It's still groovy as all get out, like all the stuff that I've loved from before. But it's like you guys started playing on the higher strings as well.
Yeah, started using the A string. That's actually a big. So when you go in the rehearsal, I'm like, guys, I have one more A string riff for you guys, and they will be like, ooh, nice, some more 80s stuff. And yeah, maybe we'll go all the way to the D string for the next one. You'll never know.
Well, today is the 23rd, and unfortunately, yesterday, Ozzy died. So I don't know if it's just because it's fresh on my mind, but listening to it, I heard a lot of Jakey Lee. Is that my mind because everything is so fresh and I just can't stop watching Ozzy videos right now? Or were you guys coming from that sort of Jakey Lee, Randy Rhoads sort of influence?
I was actually trying to learn Bark at the Moon, watching YouTube, trying to play it. And then I got bored. And then I started writing King of the Sun, which is a pretty Jakey Lee kind of riff. So you're definitely hearing it right, even though Ozzy is all over the place now. And, rest in peace. There's a lot of Ozzy going on. All the No More Tears stuff with Zakk Wylde and the big sounds and all that. We also want to do that kind of stuff. We're big fans. And actually, this Monday we started rehearsing for playing Summer Breeze. We have a cover set show, and we started playing Paranoid. So it's it's funny how everything connects, kind of.
I definitely want to hear y'all's take on Paranoid.
Yeah, it's a little bit heavier.
I don't think you guys can do it any other way.
No, I don't. It just ends up heavy every time. And our drummer, he's the most groovy guy on the planet, I think. So he just makes it. He makes it groove. And we've been playing in the same rehearsal space for 10 years, so everyone is locked in all the time.
What a blessing that is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the record some more. So I was looking over the lyrics and I noticed that a lot of the songs involve lightning, thunder, rivers, mountain, the sun, and then it's named Colossal. Is the theme of the record like mythical, natural titans?
Exactly. I think Simon, when he wrote the first one, was Colossus, and that's about the Colossus of Rhodos in Greece. So there's a lot of Greek mythology into it, but it's mainly like a way to describe tragedy and human existence, life and death. This time around, we didn't have a tight concept planned for the record. We've had that for all the other records. But this time around, it was just like, let's see where it takes us. And Simon really grew into this kind of way of expressing his thoughts about human existence and life and death. He also became a father in this process. So I think he really started thinking about that stuff. But yeah, a lot of thunders. The Stormbringer song is, I believe it's about Zeus. I hope so. And yeah, it's big themes, love, what's it called? Loathe and Love is Lasse and Simon wanted to do a love song in a death metal staging. And it definitely has love in the title. I don't hear a lot of love in the song, but that's what the lyrics circle around.
It's an interesting contrast, the album being about disaster and death, but then the music is all upbeat, energetic, fun. And
yeah,
I mean, even the darkest death metal records, I feel that's basically the nature of it. Like, we don't go to death metal shows to be dour and sad. Like, we're all going there to have a good time.
Exactly. And the idea of having a good time for us is when we're playing for a death metal audience. But whenever someone starts playing the Cold Gin riff, everyone goes nuts as well. So that's the whole thing. We want to scream Meat Hook Massacre, but then the next song we want to have even more fun, and we want to mix it all in together. So that's something the album does well, and we look forward to having way more of those songs in the live set to bring it to the audience.
So it sounds to me like a lot of the inspiration for this direction is just the way that people have reacted to things that you've done live.
Yeah, because this time around, I think we had 5 or 6 rounds in the studio, like pretty far apart. And we would do 2 songs and finish them. And then we would do 2 demos. And these demos we would bring out and play live to see what people would think about a Jaggy Lee riff in the middle of this carnage. And it worked well. And sometimes we'll say, okay, this part is going to be too long for the audience, so we're going to take it down. And then this part, they really rocked out, so let's stretch that out a bit. So yeah, there's definitely been a lot of live action going into the writing of the songs. We were allowed to do that because of the process being longer and a little bit different.
I remember reading about classic rock bands having that same approach, like taking these songs out live and then seeing what went over and what didn't. Because there's a million stories about bands that were like, we didn't even want to put this song on the record. It becomes one of their biggest hits, or songs that they thought was going to be amazing and didn't really do anything. It's like, you don't know how audiences are going to react until you get it in front of them.
No, and I think it was actually the main reason also was Lasse read in an interview with Carcass that they had played the whole of Hard Work on tour. Every song had been played live for a while before they recorded it. And that was inspiring, so we figured, why not? you know, let's just give it a shot, and it worked. I think so. So we know the songs pretty well too, and have been playing them for a long time. So yeah, I think that's cool.
Did that make it more efficient in the studio when it came time to do the final recording?
You know, the final recordings are spread so far apart as well. So, you know, there's different sounds on every second song. It's a different guitar sound. It's a different drum sound, because we thought it would make it dynamic, and we had no way to change it. But yeah, it's pretty efficient. You know, we've been recording guitars, drums, and bass at the same time since Necrosapiens. So it's kind of a live recording. Sometimes Simon sings as well at the same time. So it is pretty efficient and fun. And, you know, we're rehearsing band and a plug and play. We don't have any click tracks or backing tracks or anything. So we just do it how we wrote it in the rehearsal. And then that's what you hear on the record.
Wow, that's impressive, because it's very clean and very punchy. Like I didn't really hear much slop. It was all very tight.
Oh, there have been some slop, but luckily you can go in and adjust that. But we didn't want to, if someone made a mistake, we didn't want to lose the whole take. So if you made a mistake, like, just get back into the groove and play the rest of the song. And sometimes the mistake fit. Sometimes it's actually giving something to the song that maybe was missing. And sometimes you have to go like, okay, I broke a string right there, so we're going to have to just patch those 20 seconds up. But mainly it's all live. And I think we tried to do a song to a click track, but had to stop it because there's the same part where everyone wanted to speed up, also the drummer. So then the click it up, and that's not how the song was supposed to be. So we went back to our old ways.
Yeah, it's always interesting about the click, because it's always the same. I'm sure there must be a way to automate it to where you can have it speed up when you want it to, because there's songs that change time signatures, but hey, you got it done.
Yes, and we're doing that live as well. So I don't know, some bands like really make good use of the click. For example, we were touring with a Fit for an Autopsy, and they have their whole set like to a click track, but it was so tight, it was so brutal and so efficient in a way. You know, it was like being hit by a tank. So that wouldn't suit those guys to do it the other way, but I don't think it would suit us to do it their way. We're a bit more of a rock and roll band, so I think it's going to continue like that.
I got the opportunity to shoot one of their concerts too, and so there I am in the photo pit. They're right in front of me, and one of those timed sub drops hit.
Yeah,
and it hit me in the chest so hard. I was like, "Oh my God, this whole room is shaking."
Oh yeah, man, it's so brutal. I get goosebumps thinking about those shows in the US, because they were heavy, man.
Oh, I think y'all were supposed to be on that bill. That was Arch Enemy, Fit for an Autopsy, but unfortunately, I don't think y'all were able to do the Atlanta date, which was a bummer for me.
Yeah, we had to go home. Simon had a 2-month-old daughter that really he did like a full month of touring, and then we were in the last minute offered the last run, but we couldn't offer Simon that. That's he already gave up a lot. So for the band's sake and for his sake, we went home, but had an amazing run up until that.
Well, that's a good reason. Totally respect that. That just means you got to come to Atlanta at some point in the near future, hopefully on this record.
Oh, we will. We're trying to figure it out how, but we definitely will return.
Oh, well, I will have links to y'all's sites and social media so that when y'all do make tour announcement, everybody can find it. But I want to ask you another thing about the record. Now this is a little tricky. To me, there's 2 instrumental songs on the record, but when I look at the track listing, there's 9 songs, but then my preview stream had 12 songs.
Yes.
Is it going to be like a special edition that has extra songs?
The CD edition is going to have 3 extra tracks. So it's going to be one of King of the Sun, where Simon sings Jesper Binzer's part. So a demo version. And then it's going to be a song called Aftermath, who didn't make the record, but we think it deserved a spot on the bonus list. And the last song, what's that called? Elysian Nights. That was an instrumental I did, which we thought would fit pretty well into the whole album. But then Light the Beacons pretty much beat it out the way, because Light the Beacons is a perfect intro to Depraved World, and Light the Beacons is also our walk-on song now.
Oh.
So yeah, man, it's all good. We like doing instrumentals too, and I think there will definitely be more of that on the next one too.
Yeah, I dug the instrumentals. Again, I agree with you. Light the Beacons is it's a great build-up, and you guys didn't do what a lot of metal bands do when they do instrumentals. It's definitely very lead guitar driven, but it's not a shreddy, okay, this is the instrumental, this is where I get to show off. No, it was more like epic, check out this soaring melody I'm doing on my lead guitar.
Yeah, Lasse, it's Lasse's, what do you call it? Cliffs of Dover. It's his homage to Mark Knopfler. And whenever people hear that one and they're like, what the fuck is this about? I'm like, imagine like a meadow in Ireland and then a pint, with the drops running down of it. That's the whole idea with Light the Beacons. Or writing a Shadowfax really fast. That's also why it's Lord of the Rings title. But yeah,
that was an idyllic image you just put in my head of the pint with the dew running down it. Again, very fun.
Yeah, it's a fun track, and it's also really in some ways out of place, but that's why it had to go there.
So you said it's your intro track when you play live. So I guess there's not going to be like a performance of this.
I think so. We just have to figure out how we can play it. It's recorded the same way as all the other songs. So we just have to find out in what setting it's going to be. It's probably going to be kind of a special show. Maybe a show where we play the album from start to finish. That could be cool. But yeah, someday.
Yeah, it's a challenge playing those instrumental songs live. Sometimes they go over really well, and sometimes it lulls out the energy. You just never know.
Yeah, but hopefully when we play Light the Beacons live, people will have tons of beer because they understand that it's the beer song, and then it'll work out just fine.
Oh, that's the way you should intro it. You should be like, all right, this is the one where I need you to hold your beers up. You'll get everybody's energy up when you do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, again, the record is Colossal, and it is out Friday, August the 15th.
Yes.
I'm so much looking forward to sharing it with everybody. Thank you so much for coming on. Again, y'all's links will be in the description so that when tour announcements happen, hopefully an Atlanta date, we'll get to see you.
Sounds great, man. And by the way, maybe this is not coming out in time, but tomorrow evening or at midnight today, the next single, Stormbringer, will be out. And that's going to be only US footage. Like our private footage is going to be the whole music video. So that's also a lot of fun for you Americans. You can see your home from the Danish point of view.
Very cool. Well, I will put that at the end of this episode as a short clip with a link to the full video, because that's the song that opens the record. And I think it's the perfect way for people to hear the sound you guys are going after here, because like we talked about, that AC/DC intro, and then boom, just hit you with that bass brutality.
Yeah. I agree. It's the right track for people to get ready.
Well, again, Colossal, August 15th. Good luck with the release, and thank you so much for your time talking with me today.
Thank you for having me, man.